Alright, ladies and gents, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can double your email signups by designing and shipping pop-ups that converts like crazy. With the rise of CPMs and competition, essentially e-com brands need to find ways to increase the effectiveness of their advertising. And email marketing is probably one of the best solutions for that. So that's why it's important to have like an email list, because you can essentially market to people that are inside your email list forever, which will increase your LTV, increase your profits, and make sure that you are in a good position to be able to scale your brand. And that without spending any money on ads. And the best way to be able to grow your email list is essentially through pop-ups. Okay, so let's dive right in and discuss about like what's the real purpose of a pop-up. As you know, email marketing helps to push people past the trust threshold, right? Which will essentially help you to convert a visitor into a customer. And if you're doing a great job, more than just having like a one-time customer, you can have them like buy multiple times and become like advocate and buy like 2, 3, 4, 5 times. But for that, we need to capture them. So you might ask, why are pop-up essential? So the thing is 90% to 95% of the people that you drive to the website will not convert right away. So we need to have ways to essentially capture the information, which is essentially here their emails at least. And then that way we can essentially send them emails and try to convert them on the back. So that's why we use pop-up, essentially to capture attention. That way we can leverage that for email campaigns, which could be promotional campaigns or educational campaigns. And we can communicate with people even after they leave the website. And a well-designed pop-up can increase engagement, it will increase conversion, and it will essentially help you to generate more revenue for your brand. And here is the thing, pop-up tends to convert between 3 and 8%, and you can even get it to probably 11%, 12%-ish. Hence why we need to make sure that they are like optimized and that the pop-up capture essentially people that have like a high intent, right? We don't want to capture everyone. We want to capture just the people that we are sure, or at least, people that have probably the highest likelihood of being a purchaser, right? And there is a science behind creating a high converting pop-up, right? If you don't do it right, it can have the opposite effect, essentially meaning that people will just be scared when they will land on your web page because of the way the pop-up is designed or the way it appears and so on. And here is the 9 biggest mistakes that people do when they create a pop-up. Mistake number 1. So if you don't have a strong offer, what will happen essentially is that people won't be interested into giving their email, which is something kind of private, for whatever you are offering, because the incentive is not there. So always make sure that your offer is strong enough, and that way you will ensure that you have the highest amount of people coming inside your email list. So mistake number 2, time delay too fast. Essentially, it's when people are just, slamming the pop-up as soon as someone arrives on the website. That has a really, really bad effect on the conversions, because nobody wants to be coming somewhere and then everyone is pushing everything in front of your face, right? Nobody likes that. So don't do that to your customers. Mistake number 3, too many fields in your pop-ups. So this has a bad impact in general, because nobody wants to give like all their personal information for a small discount or something. The reason being that they don't trust you enough, right? So the best way, if you want to capture more information, it could be like through quiz. But if you want to make sure that your main pop-up on your website converts very, very well, the best thing to do is to ask as little as possible informations. And that way you will have like a high conversion rate. Again, think about it. What is the easiest? Going on the website, signing for a pop-up that asks just for the email, or going on a website, signing for a pop-up where they ask you your name, last name, date of birth, email, gender, what you like, what you don't like, who's your dog. Mistake number 4, slow load time speed. You need to make sure that your pop-up loads fast, and that's the same for your entire website. Otherwise, it will decrease the number of conversion that you will get. Mistake number 5, the form size is too small. So you need to make sure, of course, that people can click on your call to action on your forms, or just like provide their information without having to, Zoom to be able to provide these informations, right? So make sure that it has the right sizing. So one way to do that is to make sure essentially that you have like a form that is for mobile and that you have one that is for desktop only. That way you can optimize the form based on where people what device people are using. Mistakes number 6, too much copy. Listen, at the end of the day, what people want is the incentive, right? So don't explain everything that they will get and that you will send them twice a week an email, and then there will be like one email about this, one email about that, and they will be part of the VIP if they do this, or they will get like exclusive offer. Nobody cares. Just give them the damn incentive, and that's all. Mistake number 7, too much going on. I know design is important, but don't make the mistake of over designing your pop-up and distracting them from essentially giving the email and clicking the call to action. Mistake number 8, offer is unclear. So it gets back to the point where I was talking about the offer at the beginning. And essentially you want to make sure that there is like a clear value proposition, and that even like a 2-year-old can understand exactly what we provide if they provide their email. Mistake number 9, the pop-up is too easy to close. So it's important to have a close button, but don't make it too big. Don't make it like too obvious. The reason being that then they want to leave essentially your pop-up, right? So you want to make sure that you keep them focused on the pop-up, focused on the call to action, focused on giving the email, and that's all. Okay, so now that we know exactly what are the common mistakes that people are doing, that you're not a beginner anymore, let's dive right in and create a pop-up on Klaviyo. All right, so before we dive right in, I wanted to share with you like a card, which is essentially one of our process to create pop-ups with our clients inside the agency. And I think that it does the work very well of explaining what are the different things that you need to think about if you want to create a high converting pop-up. The first thing you need to know, of course, is the goal. And then you have like the strategy. So you have like 1-step pop-up, 2-step pop-up. We won't make it hard today. I think that we'll just go through the 1-step pop-up, but essentially a 2-step is kind of the same. You just have like a step in between, right? Where you will ask for more information. And that way it doesn't really hurt the conversion on the pop-up because people already provided their email on step 1. So step 1, provide the email. Step 2, for example, we give them another incentive so that we can get their SMS, or we can just ask for more questions, right? So that's a way to go around the fact that we want to have too many fields. We would like to have more information, sorry. You want to make sure as well that you exclude the pop-up from certain pages. Of course, you don't want to distract people when they are about to buy. Let's start with the offers, right? So related to the offers, you have the free shipping offer, the $1 off offer, the discount offer. You can have a gift card. It could be like a buy one, get one. It could be like a free gift, a free sample. You have like the choice, right? And I don't even talk about like things such as, essentially like ebooks that can give more information to people. It really depends on the niche, right? But there is like a lot of different offers that you need to try to see what works best for you. But in general, what we do inside the agency is that we try to get the information related to pop-up. So for example, first the offer that I just mentioned before, right? Because we don't want to know exactly what the copywriter will put inside the copy based on the offer that the client wants us to test, or if we have ideas that we want to test. Is it like a discount? If yes, like what's the discount? How much percent or $1 off, whatever. Then the targeting. So we want to make sure that we target the right pages. Again, it really depends on the type of pop-up that you're doing. So if, for example, you're targeting just blog pages for some embedded form or even like a pop-up, then that's where we specify it, right? Because, for example, if we want to give like an ebook because someone checked matcha recipes, right? And the ebook talks about like more recipes, then we don't want to necessarily like share the ebook when they're on the product page, where we would like probably to show them a discount instead of an ebook, right? So then we ask if there is something in the copy, something in the design. Okay, so then it's copywriting, right? So it's for the copywriter. So essentially what we want to make sure is that we have all the information required to be able to create the copy. And then when we create the copy, I want to make sure that there is like all the different sections that are there, right? Again, we saw the mistakes before. We don't want to have something that is too long, okay? But that's essentially what the process. And of course, we want to have also a copy for the success page when they opt in. All right, now let's get into Klaviyo. All right, so we are back on Klaviyo. That's a client account. As you can see here for these 2 pop-ups here, they have like excellent results, right? We turned them off because we are trying a new version that is just here. But what I want to show you is how to create a pop-up. So if you want to create like a pop-up, essentially the first thing that you need to do, is to go here, create a sign up form. So when we are here, we already know the offer that we want to do, right? Because we discussed about the offer that we want to advertise with our team, or we had that in mind, right? So now it's about choosing the right type of pop-up, right? And you have like different types. So you can pick like a pop-up, a flyout, an embed, full page, and full screen, right? So the most common generally is pop-up, even though I see the full pages more and more currently used by big brands. But let's pick the pop-up, right? So we pick pop-up here, and then Klaviyo will essentially like show us like some ideas, right? So you can pick whatever templates that you want that you think would look nice with what you're doing. You can essentially build everything from there if you want. So just for this example, let's pick something that is quite standard. So let's take, for example, this one. So they ask for the name, so we call it like, it's a test, so we'll just put test. And then you have to pick the subscriber list, right? So what I like to do essentially here is pick the same list for my pop-up, my main pop-up, I would say. And also, you know, essentially when someone like buys from your Shopify store, they are redirected to a list. So I like to put them both together and have as little as possible different lists, right? I pick the list and then you create the form. So as a side note, here we just talk about pop-ups and not quizzes. Quizzes are also like a way to essentially get leads inside your list. That would be probably the topic for another video. All right, back to the pop-up. So you have different things here, right? So the first thing is that you can see on the top, there is the email opt-in, and you can have a teaser as well, which would be like kind of like a bubble that you will have here that would be displayed on your website when the pop-up is closed. And you can add another step in between the success and this one, right? So for example, here the success is like this, and you could add like a step. So for example, if you want to add SMS opt-in, collect more information. So generally that's both, that like one or the other that I use, right? But to make it simple again, here we just want to create a one-step pop-up. The first thing, as you can see, is here, unlock 20% of your first order. I think that's good, right? That's the default from Klaviyo. I think it's okay. It's not the best pop-up, but it's okay. The thing is, it displays the offer right away, right? So let's say that your offer here was like, I don't know, 10% or something. Anyway, you would just change that here, right? And you can of course like change the copy. So it's something that you would give to your copywriter, or you if you're also the copywriter, right? And here there is like another section where they explain that if you sign up, you will have offers and things like that. And it's not necessarily required. You could go straight to the jugular and just have that, and the pop-up would work very well. Of course, you have the place to give the email. You can unlock the offer. This button needs to essentially send people to the success, and then the no thanks and the cross here to close the pop-up. So here you can, of course, add a picture like this. So you can change the picture if you want here. You can also like play with sizes. So let's go back here. Let's go in style. So if you want to play with the sizes of the pop-up, generally it's here, right? So for example, 780, right? So let's put 600. It would looks like this, right? So let's put it back. That's where you can play with the different sizes to size properly your pop-up. Then you can also like choose if you want to have like the picture on the right or the left, right? So the background color and things like that, I'll let you play with that. But then there is like one thing that is really important, is the targeting and behavior. So once that you have designed your pop-up and you feel really confident that it is exactly what you want, that's when you will go in targeting and behaviors, which is really, really important. So the first thing that I like to do in general is to make sure that the pop-up doesn't come immediately, but based on a, few rules, or you can have like a custom trigger. But yeah, so immediately is generally like not a good thing, right? You want to make sure that the pop-up comes after like a few seconds or something like that. In general, I like to go for 30 seconds as a basis. So people have time to go on the website, check a bit the product, and eventually you show them the pop-up after that. Now you can have different pop-ups. You can have also like what we call an exit intent. So an exit intent would come if someone has an exit intent, right? So what you want to do is have a different pop-up for the exit intent and one for the normal opt-in. So let's say that this one is the regular opt-in, right? Then for the exit intent, what I would do is essentially adding when visitor is exiting the page here, and you can display if all selected conditions are met. So I would click on that. I want to make sure that, for example, they have been on the website for 30 seconds, that they are exiting the page, and that they have scrolled, for example, 50%. Again, here it's like for the exit intent, right? Not the normal pop-up. So I would have something similar to that, because I don't want to share the exit intent to everyone. I want to share the exit intent to people that are really, really engaged, right? So that's one. And the second, which I will disclose here, is that for the exit intent, you want to display it just on specific page, just like the regular pop-up. But for example, you don't necessarily want to have like an exit intent on the homepage. doesn't make sense. So let's get back to the normal pop-up. So we have that. Then for the frequency, I like to put 5 days. It's okay. You can put more. So it's essentially like if someone closed the pop-up, when do you want to show them again this pop-up if they come back on the website? You don't want to show them like every time that they come, they will be pissed. So you can put like some timer in between so that you don't are too annoying with your pop-up, I would say. Then for the devices, so it's really important that you have one pop-up for desktop, one pop-up for mobile. So here, let's say it's desktop. So I would build this one as a desktop pop-up, and then I would create another pop-up which would have the same behavior and triggers, except the fact that it would be on mobile only, right? And that way you can make sure that you have the highest results possible and they are like super optimized. Again, remember the mistakes. We don't want to have something that is too small or, you know, that people can't really use, that is not like really good to use, right? It's not displayed very well. We don't want that. Now you can decide to click outside of the box. I mean, that's cool. We can do that. So here it was for the display. Let's have a look at the targeting. As I mentioned, you want to show the pop-up on specific URL. The best is probably this one. Do not show it to specific URLs. We don't want to share it for in the collection, for example. So it would be like collection, right? We don't want to show it on the privacy page. We don't want to show it on the FAQ page. We don't want to show it on the blog page. So all these pages, you just add them there so that you make sure that the experience is seamless for your users, right? UDM's parameters, that's also something that you can use to be like hyper specific on the source of traffic, for example. So if they come from Facebook, you want to have like a specific pop-up for them, or Google or whatever, that's the place to do that. So you just add your UTMs and locations. So for example, let's say that you have like customers in Australia, in New Zealand and other places. You can display the pop-up just for the people from Australia, and that way you see what is the conversions and do that the same for just New Zealand. But that's something that is really cool to do as well. So that's roughly all for everything that you have to do to set up a pop-up on Klaviyo. That's really simple. Now, if you want to get to the next level, what I would suggest that you do is, instead of building it on Klaviyo, you start to build it on Figma, right? You have a designer that will create something that is really, really nice, and they put it together inside of Klaviyo. And that's something that you can do, right? It's a bit more high level, but it's definitely worth it. So now what I want to share with you is an example of pop-up that works very well inside of our client's account. All right, so we are like inside a client's account, and I wanted to share an example with a checklist of the things that are done very, very well, which lead to high conversion for the pop-up. So the first thing is that we have a eye-catching picture. So something that grabs attention. And when you see that, you just stop for a second, right? Now, the tone of voice is also like well respected. So it's a brand selling, essentially this device, which is like a sleep aid type of thing. And as you can see here, all the copy is tailored to the audience, right? Then of course, we have the offer, which is popping a lot, which is really, really good because you know exactly what's going on. So essentially, if you look at it, right, your eye go from this to this, and then this, and then this, and then this. That's how you have to think about your pop-up. We take the attention, they see the offer, then they see the call to action, and then they see the rest, okay? Of course, there is just one field again, right? And we have like a call to action that is enticing, and that's it related to the design. And I think that, something really simple that way works very, very well. Success page, of course. So we give the discount code here, which can be good. So if you don't want to have people to go on the email box, but I prefer to not display the discount in general. The reason being that I like to force them to go inside the inbox to use a discount and, get used to opening our emails. Now, if we talk about the targeting and a behavior here. So here we went for 10 seconds. I think it's not enough. So we go for 30, right? And now if we look at the targeting, there is like a few things that are really cool. So first, we don't want to show to existing Klaviyo profiles, which makes sense, right? You don't want to share to people that already subscribed, sorry. And then of course, so we show that to only specific URLs. So if they contain that, or they match exactly that. So which is like here it's like the homepage, because it's like a one product type of brand. So they can like share that inside the homepage. That's probably like one of the only cases where you want to share that on the homepage. But in general, I don't really like, but I know that people do that. But yeah, it's just me, right? That's that. And then here, as I mentioned, you can pick the country that you want. Now, I just want to give you also like another step that is, I think, really, really cool with your pop-up. So for example, let's say that we are in the email opt-in and we click here. You can add properties, right? So for example, what we can do is that if someone essentially give the email to this pop-up, we can add, for example, a property that will let us know that they provided the email for this pop-up. So that's really good when you are like split testing a lot of different pop-ups at the same time. So for example, let's say that you split test like 2 pop-ups and you split the offer. So there is one way it's 10%, there is one way it's like 15%. Then what you want to do is create a property where when they opt in on the 15% or the 10%, we know which pop-up they've opted in. And that way you can go on the welcome series. Yeah, I know it starts to be a bit technical, but you can go on the welcome series and create welcome series with a conditional split where you would give this welcome series if they have been on pop-up number 1 or welcome series number 2 if they have been in pop-up number 2, and all in the same flow, right? So it's a bit technical. I have videos about this. I will share that probably in the future, but that's really, really cool and you should do that. All right. So we saw a lot of things already, but now the last step is everything related to split testing the pop-up. There is a few things that you might want to split test to increase the efficiency of your pop-up. Let's dive right in. The first thing is the offer. Again, we saw that that's the most important thing. If you try a discount, right, you can try another offer, or you can try a higher discount versus a lower discount, which sometimes the lower discount will win, and it means that you do more profit essentially. Or you can try a dollar off versus a discount, same thing. For example, if you give 15% of a 200 average order value versus a $15 and the $15 wins, then you essentially makes more profit. The second thing is the form type. So there is like a few different form types that we saw at the beginning when we created the Klaviyo form. So you have like the flyout, you have the pop-up, you have the embed, and so on and so forth. So try to test, for example, a full page versus the normal pop-up and see what works best. Sometimes you will see that, and especially right now, the full page have a higher conversion rate as long as they are well designed and it's essentially a high converting copy, offer, design, and everything. If you are doing a quiz or getting zero party data with your pop-up, that's also something that you can essentially split test and really see if, for example, this or that question could help to increase the likelihood of someone opting in with your pop-up, right? The number of steps of completion. So we discussed at the beginning that there is the 1-step pop-up, 2-step pop-up, but you can also have a pre-page before showing a pop-up. So for example, it would be like, would you be interested in a discount? And then you have yes or no. And if you click yes, then you're sent to the pop-up, right, itself, where you can give your email. Sometime having a page in front of, before the pop-up can help to increase conversion. Same thing. You have to split test that. The targeting. So it could be the page, the timing, the audience. So try to play with that. You can see that sometimes it will also like have a strong impact. The design. Again, if you recall, when we saw the pop-up of this brand for babies, the first thing that popped was the picture of the baby with like this bubble and sentence, right? So it really shows that the image will help you to grab the attention of your potential customers. So you need to make sure that it works very well. So you can try things, for example, having a GIF instead of a picture, or just change the picture and see what are the results when you do that. The copy, of course, headline, body, and call to action, right? It can have like a big impact also on the conversion of the pop-up. So, give it a try. And don't forget, when you split test 2 offers simultaneously, make sure that they are sent to 2 different welcome series based on the code that they get, right? And again, it's about leveraging the custom properties. And that's everything that you need to know to be able to create a high converting pop-up for your e-commerce brand. Okay, so now that you know exactly how to create high converting pop-ups and also capturing email, the next thing that you will need to know is essentially know how to create emails that converts, right, in your flows, create emails also that are entertaining, but also like good sales and promotional emails, making sure that of course you have like a good deliverability and that you know how to optimize everything. So we talked about like how to optimize pop-ups, but you need to also know how to optimize flows, you need to optimize campaigns, you need to know how to optimize everything that is linked to retention. And again, the goal is just that you make sure that you turn random visitors into loyal customers. And I know there is like a lot of things that goes into retention for e-commerce brand, and that's hard to do it all by yourself. So if you want a team that can help you for email, for SMS, for WhatsApp, for direct mail, so essentially the only thing that you have to do is to click on the link that will be below this video to book a call. Like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Alex out.